This will be performed by Emmanuel Precious.
Nigeria, we held our native land, the triumph of Medifar in the road would we stand. Nigeria, proud to serve our sovereign motherland. Our flag shall be a symbol that truth and justice reign. In peace or battle, and these we count as gain. To hand unto our children a banner with us
I think that deserves a better round of applause. A round of applause, please. I think that was truly... If I can just crave your indulgence, please keep standing while we just take the NBA prayer. My apologies. The NBA prayer is on page 3. I will all read it together. Page 3. Almighty God, our Creator, we pray you to be with us in all our deliberation and to direct our endeavors, so that we shall continue in all humility to glorify thy name and do that which is right and just for our profession, its members, our fellow men, and our country. Amen. Thank you. From all take our seats. Thank you so much. The Chief Judge of the High Court of Lagos State, Honorable Justice Kazim Alogba, and other judges of the High Court of Lagos State here present. The Honorable Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice, Lagos State, Mr. Lawal Pedro, Senior Advocate of Nigeria. Our keynote speaker, Mr. Segun Oshutoku, Senior Advocates of Nigeria here present. Mr. Olabisi Makanjuola, Chairman, MBA Lagos Branch, and other members of the MBA Lagos Branch Executive. Mrs. Folashade Ali, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Chairperson of the Law Week Planning Committee. Colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I'm sure we can do better than that. Good morning. Thank you. Okay, let's look to the person to your right and left and say good morning and welcome to the NBA Lagos Week 2024. Fantastic. My name is Vincent Iweze, and I'll be your co-compare for today. I won't be alone. My colleague Precious at some time will be joining me on stage. Our theme this year is Charting New Legal Frontiers, the practice of law in Nigeria, cross-border alliances and partnerships. This reflects the dynamic and evolving nature of our profession. In an increasingly globalized world, the practice of law transcends border, requiring new strategies, innovative approaches, and robust partnerships. As we embark on this week of insightful discussions, thought-provoking conversations, and meaningful networking, let us remember that law is not just a profession, but a pillar of this society. It's our duty to ensure that it adapts to challenging times and addresses emerging challenges. Once again, I welcome you to the NBA Lagos Week 2024. Let us make it a week to remember, a week of learning, growth, and forging new frontiers to our beloved profession. And on that note, it gives me great pleasure to welcome the chairperson of the planning committee, Mrs. Folashade Ali, for her welcome address. Thank you so much. A round of applause for her as she makes it up to the stage. We can keep clapping until she comes up. Thank you so much.
Good morning, everyone. I'm quite sure you're all excited to be here this morning. I'd like to first of all start by thanking everyone for being here. Good morning. All protocols have not been observed, so I guess I have to do the protocols. Good morning to the Attorney General of Lagos State, Mr. Lawal Pedro, Senior Advocate of Nigeria. Thank you, sir, for taking time out, because I know that today is ESCO, so really very, very fortunate to have him to be here this morning. To the members of the bench here present, thank you. The General Secretary of the Nigerian Bar Association should be here. He should be representing the President of the Nigerian Bar Association. So we expect him to be here shortly to deliver that welcome address. To the Chairman of the Nigerian Bar Association, Lagos Branch, Mr. Olabisi Makanjuola, who have brought all of us here. Thank you, sir. Executive members of the branch, thank you. To the members of the Planning Committee of the 2024 Nigerian Bar Association Lagos Branch Law Week, I am so grateful to all of you, and I thank you for the hard work you have done. Our special guests here, my learned colleagues, senior advocates of Nigeria, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. It is indeed an honor and a privilege to stand before you this morning as the chairman of the 2024 Nigerian Bar Association Lagos Branch Law Week. We are so excited that today is the first day of this long-awaited Law Week, which we have planned for the past 6 months. And together with members of the Planning Committee and Mr. Ken Etim, who was my co-chair, unfortunately cannot be here this morning, I welcome you all here this morning. Traditionally, the Nigerian Bar Association Lagos Branch has always held Law Week around this time every year. And basically what is it for? Is to collaborate, network, and to actually interrogate developments and challenges that we're facing as lawyers. Well, thank you. The General Secretary is here. Thank you, sir. I just mentioned your name. So over the past 6 months, after we were given this mandate, the members of the committee wanted to deliver a world-class conference, a conference with a difference. And I can assure you that the hall being nearly half full at 9:30, the expectations are high. We pray that by God's grace will not disappoint you. We've all worked hard, and I pray that the weather is also cooperating with us, so everything looks good and set. And I promise you, this Law Week is packed full of sterling speakers, panelists, and we're fortunate to have a keynote speaker from England, Mr. Segun Oshitokun, who is the senior. Mr. Segun Oshitokun is the senior global partner of the famous law firm called Brian K. Leighton Paisner, and they're supposed to be one of the largest law firms across 31 countries all over the planet. So we're fortunate to have him with us to interrogate and to set the tone for the theme for this conference. We've all been told that the theme for this conference is charting new legal frontiers. the practice of law in Nigeria, cross-border alliances and partnerships. What are we talking about? We know that we all live in the global age now. Technology has taken over, and we in Nigeria cannot be left over. There are now virtual law firms. AI has taken over. There's so many technology resources now, ChatGPT and the others. What are we doing in Nigeria? We also realize that even though we say that only Nigerians, it's only those that are called to bar in Nigeria that can practice. But we've seen a lot of changes. There's been a lot of alliances that we're all aware of and partnerships between Nigerian law firms and international law firms. I really want to talk about it. There's so many topics that have been lined up, from how do we adapt to these legal shifts, to dual qualifications, the use of technology. We have a 2 days packed full sessions dealing with various topics. I'm quite sure you all have the program with you, so I would not want to bore you with the topics. What I would like to tell you is that we have a week that's packed full of activities. Today, Monday the 10th, and tomorrow, June 11th, are the plenary sessions. Fortunately for us, 12th of June is a public holiday, so we plan to go on a democracy walk, and everybody is expected to come to the Igboshere Court of Appeal in Igboshere. We all plan to walk all the way to Kalomo and to continue to discuss about the state of our nation and how we as lawyers can assist. On that same day, there will be a charity walk to Island Maternity. We have to continue to lend to the less privileged. There will also be a prison visit to Ikoyi prisons. So please join us in all these activities. Now that evening, we will all, the elders plan to have an elders night, and the young ones will go to Terra Culture for a movie night. So we've actually decided that the old and the young should have their separate days. Now, on the 13th is a day I'm looking forward to. It's a day for the Bar and Bench Forum. We want to continue to interrogate how to practice law and the problems we're facing with the judiciary. On the 14th of June, which is Friday, the new weeks and the young lawyers have not been left out. So we have a day dedicated to them. Please join them and don't let them feel left out. Now on the last day, the grand finale, actually on Friday at night is Boogie Town time. Jeans, dining party, closing party. Be there and come and see Beyonce perform. And who is that Beyonce? Guess who? It's me. And lastly, we have Family Day, which is on 15th of June. We believe that we cannot continue to say we're lawyers without not knowing our family and friends. So we actually want you all to bring your children, bring your spouses, and let us all meet at Royal Podaka, where we will all just have fun for the whole day. In the morning, there will be novelty match. The men have decided that they want to show their strength. Support them at 9, and then from 10, 11, go to Royal Podaka. It really is a week packed full of activities, and I pray that you will all join us. Now, before I leave the stage, because I'm not supposed to speak for long, I'd like to thank, first of all, the sponsors, who without them would not be here. I'm quite sure you'll agree with me that a lot of money has gone into this. We did not actually, we've been fortunate to have people that sponsored because they believe in our cause, and we would like to thank them profusely. Their names are being showed all over. Thank you, our sponsors, for your generous donation. We do not take you for granted. And lastly, to the team that made this happen, the conference planning committee members, I'd like you to stand up. Please help me give them a round of applause. They really worked hard, tirelessly. They did so much to ensure that today was a success. And I'd like to thank them. Some of them didn't sleep all night. We had to ensure that the hall was packed, was prepared yesterday. We were all here, and we're here by 7 o'clock this morning. They really have worked hard for the past 7 months, and I really thank you all for standing with me and making today reality. Thank you all, and please do have a good day and a good week. I look forward to interrogating and speaking to everyone. If you have any problems, do not hesitate to see any one of us. They're standing there. Thank you all, and I wish you all a very good deliberation. Thank you.
We can do better. A round of applause for Mrs. Folashade Ali. I think we all have the expo now. She'll be performing live on Friday. Make sure you're there to see her. Well, I'd just like to appreciate everyone who's here today. I mean, this is the first day of the week. It's Monday morning, 9 o'clock, billable hours, and everybody has chosen to be here. And it shows the seriousness of this event. And I have the on good authority that this has been carefully curated to ensure that it's enriching and also rewarding. I'd like now to call on the NBA Lagos chairman, Mr. Olabisi Akonjo-Ola, for his welcome speech. A round of applause for him as he comes. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. I'd like to stand on the protocol laid by the chairman of the Law Week 2024 Planning Committee. Esteemed colleagues, legal practitioners, friends, ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you to our highly anticipated Law Week, an event meticulously crafted to offer unparalleled insights and opportunities for professional growth. This year's theme, Charting New Legal Frontiers, Practice of Law in Nigeria, Cross-Border Alliances and Partnerships, indeed reflects our commitment to exploring the ever-evolving landscape of legal practice with precision and purpose. Picture this not just as an ordinary gathering, not just as an ordinary talk shop, but as a crucible of ideas where seasoned professionals and aspiring legal minds converge to engage in meaningful discourse. Through insightful debates and thought-provoking discussions led by our carefully selected line of speakers, our panelists and moderators, we aim to shed light on the most pressing challenges and exciting opportunities facing our profession today and tomorrow. Of particular interest to me will be the riveting discussion on the future of the Nigerian Bar Association later this evening. This presents a unique opportunity for us to scrutinize our visions and actively participate in shaping the future of our esteemed association. Indeed, in addition, it will be a platform for engagement between the bar and the bench on matters of mutual interest and concern. Our meticulously created sessions covering essential topics such as legal technology, alternative resolution, and international law are designed to arm you with political strategies and insights to navigate the complexities of modern legal practice successfully. We have also put together social events for lawyers and their families to look forward to, so we can kick back, relax, as we build stronger networks among ourselves and our families. We are not just the Premier Bar by name, we are the Premier Bar by our actions, we are the Premier Bar by what we do, we are the Premier Bar by our programs, the Premier Bar by leadership. And as such, I am confident that this Law Week will not only inspire us, but to also empower all of us to reach new heights and excellence in our respective fields. I must at this point thank Mrs. Ali and her team for putting together this wonderful event. I must say that the Lagos branch has not spent £1 in putting together this event. For transparency purposes, I know the Attorney General is here. Mrs. Ali and her team have raised over 80 million naira for this Law Week. And the alerts keep coming. We still saw alerts this morning. And so for sponsors who still would like to partner with us, there is still room for more sponsors. At this point, I'd like to thank everybody for coming, and I urge you to relax and witness the best ever Law Week in the history of the NBA Lagos. Thank you very much.
A round of applause for the chairman. I think he stated very clearly the Premier Branch, not just in name, but in words, deeds, and action. I think that deserves a round of applause, please. Thank you so much. And we keep thanking the team who has put this together. I learned very early that it takes 20 years to be an overnight success. So this 1 week has been planned in 7 months, and the team deserves their accolades. Thank you so much for that. So we're moving on now to our goodwill messages, and it gives me great pleasure to call on the Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice, Lagos State, Mr. Lawal Pedro, Senior Advocate of Nigeria. Thank you so much. Please, I would appreciate a round of applause for the Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice of Lagos State. Thank you so much.
Well, good morning all. Where will I start? Since Mrs. Ali ensured that I'm here this morning. And I must say, Mr. Milon's here present, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I'm extremely honored to have that privilege to join my sister, my brother, to welcome you to the 2024 Law Week of this great Premier Bar Association, the Lagos Branch. As we gather here today, we stand at the precipice of a new era in legal practice, ready to chart a new frontier and forge a lasting partnership that will define the future of our profession. Reflecting on the words of Mahatma Gandhi, the best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others. Our service as legal practitioner is ever evolving, shaped by the forces of globalization, technological advancements, and regulatory reforms. We may ask ourselves, have we truly embraced the global standard that now influence our legal practice? Are we fully harnessing the potential of new technologies to deliver justice more efficiently and more effectively? Therefore, I consider the theme of this Law Week as appropriate. The practice of law should be geared towards economic growth, protection of investments, and to encourage local and foreign investments. Globalization has transformed the practice of law, broadening the horizon and compelling to integrate international legal standards. Cases and transactions often span multiple jurisdictions, not only in Lagos, not only in Nigeria, but the world, demanding a comprehensive understanding of both local and international laws. We can now ask ourselves, how can we, as Nigerian lawyers, thrive in the interconnected world? The answer lies in our ability to adapt, learn, and innovate. Technology, too, has revolutionized our profession. The artificial intelligence, blockchain, and online disputes resolution are no longer mere buzzwords, but essential tools in our legal arsenal. They offer us unprecedented efficiency and effectiveness. And are we ready to embrace these challenges, leverage them to serve our clients better? The future beckons on us to pioneer, not just as participants in this technology transformation. Recent regulatory reforms in Nigeria aim to foster a more competitive and transparent legal environment. These changes are designed to enhance the rule of law, improve access to justice, create a more conducive environment for business and investment. As we navigate these changes, let us strive to ensure this reform translates into real, tangible benefits for our clients and society. And you will recall recently the Lagos State government had its summit on justice reform, and it all bothered on how we want to make use of the law, the justice system, to be more efficient, more effective, to encourage and enhance economic growth, protect investment, and of course, do security for us. So in this rapid changing landscape, the importance of cross-border alliances and partnership cannot be overstated. This collaboration opens doors to knowledge exchange, enhance our competitiveness, and grant us access to new markets and clients. We are here today to form bridges that can connect us to the global network of legal expertise and opportunities. How can we best leverage this alliance to not only grow our practices, but also elevate the entire legal profession in Nigeria? You can consider the Legal Support Facility, an international organization hosted by the African Development Bank based in Abidjan, Côte d'Ivoire, which has provided invaluable legal advice and technical assistance to African countries in complex commercial transactions. Or are you talking about the East Africa, where we have the East African Law Society, which promotes regional integration and cooperation among legal practitioners. And coming home, I can talk of the partnership of the Lagos State Ministry of Justice and the Caruso School of Law, the Pepperdine University in California, in the United States, which seek to enhance the justice system's efficiency and effectiveness and accessibility in the state. The insight and recommendation provided through this and other partnership that we have forged over the years have tremendous impact on our progress as a state and holds great potential to significantly improve our justice system, clearly demonstrating the substantial benefit these alliances can deliver. Without a doubt, these examples illustrated the transformative power of cross-border collaboration. The question is, what then can we learn from these successes? How can we replicate them in our own context? Yet, we must acknowledge the challenges, cultural differences, regulatory hurdles, and the integration of technology across borders present significant obstacles. But within these challenges lies opportunities for growth and innovation. How can we turn these obstacles into stepping stones for brighter and more inclusive legal future? As we embark on this journey together during this 2024 Law Week, let us be inspired by the word of Nelson Mandela. It is always seemed impossible until it is done. So let us engage in this discussion, the workshop, networking session with open minds and determined hearts. Let us seize the opportunity to redefine the practice of law in Nigeria, to forge partnerships that transcend borders and create legacy of excellence and innovation. However, as we continue to safeguard the rule of law and promote access to justice, legal practitioners should, in the course of representing our clients, ensure that the administration of justice is used for economic growth, investment protection, security in our state, and Nigeria in general. Once again, permit me to felicitate with the chairman of the Nigerian Bar Association Lagos branch, Mr. Olabisi Makanji-Ola, and the executive members of that branch, as well as the chairperson of the 2024 Law Week Committee, Mrs. Folashade Ali, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, and all the members of the committee. May our time here be fruitful. our discussion enlightening, our collaboration enduring. Together, let us chart a new legal frontier, build a future that upholds the highest ideals of justice and service so as to revive the public trust and confidence in the justice system in Nigeria. I thank you very much and I welcome all of you.
Thank you so much, sir. Another round of applause for the Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice of Lagos State. Our sincere thanks for your very thought-provoking goodwill message. It seems impossible until it's done. Per Mr. Pedro SAN on this day, 10th June 2024. The goodwill message indeed has poked at the bear and asked very useful questions. Are we ready for change? Are we ready to embrace the new buzzwords? AI, blockchain, online dispute resolution. All of this and more, I believe, will be tackled at this Law Week. So we move on to another goodwill message by Mr. Y.C. Mekau, Senior Fellow of Nigeria, President of the Nigerian Bar Association, ably represented by the General Secretary, Mr. Adeshino Adegbite. A round of applause for him, please, as he takes the stage.
Good morning, everyone. I have the information that protocols have been well laid, so I will rest on the protocol as well established by my darling sister, who is the chair of this Law Week Planning Committee, Mrs. Folashade Ali, Senior Advocate of Nigeria. But that notwithstanding, let me especially appreciate all of us, the leaders of the bar, leaders of Lagos branch, leaders of the bar from other branches, and members of the bar from Lagos bar. I was going to say the Premier bar. You know, there is this contest between Lagos and Ibadan, which is Premier. But those of us who are at the secretariat, we have the history. So it may be difficult for me at this point in time to refer to Lagos as Premier Bar. But because Lagos has also been known over the years as Premier Bar, we will share that premiership with Ibadan Bar. Distinguished colleagues, I'm happy to be here. Of course, you know that I'm here to read the goodwill message of Mr. President. I was invited to this occasion first by the chairman of the branch, and of course, repeatedly by my darling sister, the chairman of the planning committee. So if the president was here, I would have still been here, because I wouldn't, for any reason, take for granted my very special relationship with this very amiable gentleman in skirt, who, whatever she touches turns to gold, who, to the glory of God, is chairperson of this planning committee. And I'm happy from the reports from the chairman, the branch chairman, that as at this moment, the branch has not spent a dime. That has never happened in any branch that I know. Any branch anywhere in Nigeria. Never. It actually speaks greatly to the person of the chair of the planning committee, and of course the members of the planning committee. So I give kudos to the chair and all members of this planning committee for this wonderful effort And of course, look at the ambience of this environment. I walked into the hall and I was like, wow, this is wonderful. And it couldn't have been different because I saw Cogito. I said, oh, if Cogito is here, it can only be for good. So, Cogito, keep doing the good work you are doing. This is a first-class conference setting. And it can only be Lagos. It can only be Lagos. The chairman said the Premier Bar, okay. You see, the fact that we have Lagos and Ibadan contesting to be premier is a fact that some of us need to interrogate and investigate. By my understanding, we used to have the Western Nigeria in those days, and according to the people in Ibadan, they said the first chairman of the branch was sometime in about 1930 something. I can't remember the actual year now. And from also record that we have, the first chairman in Lagos branch, there was no nothing like Lagos branch anyway, because there was a bar in Lagos, but no Lagos branch. So if we want to give the premier to a particular branch, there has to be that understanding as to when really was the branch formed as a branch. So we didn't have any branch. There was no bar in Nigeria that was known as a branch. So there was Lagos bar, some people practicing in Lagos that gathered together and they called themselves lawyers in Lagos. And there were people in Ibadan that were also practicing. And of course, because the real, Western Nigeria, of course, that is the headquarters, it was in Ibadan. So the first branch that was created was actually in Ibadan. That's where the first branch was created. But the bar in Lagos was also in existence long before that time. So there is this contest as to, do we now say Lagos that was never a branch was a branch? So if you are saying Lagos bar, okay, maybe Lagos could claim the premier. But if you are saying a branch, certainly it has to be Ibadan. So that's why both of them can coexist as premiers. Lagos bar, premier, Ibadan branch, premier. I'm actually very happy to be here, and you can see that we are discussing something very, very interesting. That is the theme of the law week, charting new legal frontiers, practice of law in Nigeria, cross-border alliances and partnerships. If practice of law must grow in Nigeria to where we want it to be. By the way, the good message of the president is on page 18 of the brochure. I believe you all have it. I'm not going to read it. It's a page, so we can go through it. Practice of law in Nigeria, cross-border alliances and partnerships. If you want the practice of law to grow to what we have in those countries that we envy, those countries that we want to be like, then we have to do something different from how we're doing it right now. And I'm happy that we have front runners who have been striving so hard to make law practice in Nigeria very attractive. And I'm happy, extremely happy, that we have in our midst this morning my father, my leader, my big brother, Mr. George Etomi, Elder George Etomi, who is the pioneer chair of Section of Business Law of the Nigerian Bar Association. That was the essence of creating that section, to actually take the law practice beyond the caucus, the circle of what we just do within this jurisdiction, to extending our practice beyond our territory. And what the section of business law has done over the years, which of course was led by members of this branch for several years. I can say without thinking twice that if not 100%, 99% of those who have led section of business law over the years have been from Lagos branch. So that apparently has reflected in the thinking of leadership of the branch, because we feel that the practice of law must be advanced, and we must take advantage, as the president said in the goodwill, advantage of the technology, the AI that has made practice now very seamless. The practice of law must not, within us, be restricted to Nigeria or to Lagos. We must start thinking how to engender partnerships beyond our nucleus environment. Partnerships with existing law firms, partnerships with renowned legal practitioners across borders. That is the essence of this thing. And that is what we should be able to, at the end of this law week, achieved through the experiences, through the knowledge that will be impacted on us by the resource persons that I believe have been well selected to speak at the law week. The chairman said that it's going to be the best ever law week. That to me was an invitation to me that, yes, don't go back to Abuja. Unfortunately, I have to go back to Abuja later today. I wish I could come back, but if I can, I will come back before the end of the week to partake in subsequent programs. Because this is a subject that I personally, maybe I should give a sample of my own personal experience. I formed a law firm in 2006, a partnership. And invariably, you all know, those of you who know me know my story, my involvement with MBA. So MBA has taken more of my time. So while I was busy, managing the work I could do in the office, my partner was running the office. But about 8 years ago, my partner decided to go for studies in the US. And you know the usual style. He decided not to come back. So we're running the office, a partner in Nigeria, another partner in the US. The chairman knows my partner. And invariably, he's still in the US. The AG also knows the story. Just last year, after I had become general secretary, the person who was running my office chose to also japa. And that led me into now thinking, how do I combine the work of the MBA and running my firm at the same time? I need to have someone who can do it. Unfortunately, the person who has been in the office, running the office for over 10 years, in fact about 15 years, chose to suddenly, in the usual parlance now, japa. So, what can I do? I have to look for a means of extending the partnership beyond what we have at the moment. Before we can have a serious cross-border alliances and partnerships with foreign firms and established law firms, you must first have a functional and working partnership in Nigeria before that can work. And before a good business, a viable business can come to you, a legal business can come to you, you must have a viable partnership in Nigeria. Of course, we have one-man business or one-man law firm that are prosperous, but to me, it can only be prosperous to some extent. We can not underestimate or even imagine the extent that partnership can take you to. That's why our leaders are here to share their experiences on what it takes to cross the border and now form alliances across the continent and across the globe. It is when you have a good practice here first that can happen. And you can take that opportunity that we have of this very well planned conference to rethink our practice, rejig our practice, and rejuvenate our practice. I believe at the end of the day, our all existence as lawyers will be the beneficiary. Our legal practice, and of course, the legal space in Nigeria will benefit from such alliances that will come as partnership that will form as a sort of the experiences that we'll get from this lobby. Let me end this goodwill message by reading from the last paragraph of the message of the president, just one paragraph. And that is just to congratulate the chairman and members of the branch. Well, let me use the word of the president as he put it. Mr. President said, I heartily congratulate the chairman, Mr. Olabisi Makanjola, and members of the executive committee of Lagos branch. I similarly congratulate and commend the 2024 Law Week Planning Committee, led by Folashade Ali SAN, for putting together this program. I appreciate the time and efforts and resources that have gone into the planning and execution thereof. I send my felicitations to all members of Premier Bar. I think the president also said Premier Bar. He didn't say Premier Branch. And urge everyone to actively participate in the lineup of events for the week. I'm quite certain that it will be time well spent. God bless MBA Lagos Branch. God bless the Nigerian Bar Association. God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Thank you very much.
Good morning, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to be your co-host today. My name is Omarge Precious. We're just going to have to run through what, Mr. Additional. Thank you very much for your speech. We really appreciate that. And also thanks to everyone that came on stage for the goodwill messages. We're going to go straight up onto our keynote speaker for tonight, none other than Mr. Segun Osutokun, Global Senior Partner at BCLP. He's going to be coming on stage to speak on the adaptation of global practice in Nigeria. Please, anyone that comes on stage, please let's be very mindful of the time because we have people that have left the offices to come and speak and be with us here today. Thank you very much. Please let's give a round of applause for Mr. Segun Osutokun.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I stand on all protocols before me by my sister, Olashade, and my younger brother, Ismail Yola. My name is Segun Osutokun. I am the Global Senior Partner of Prime Cabling and Pacing. We call it, the market calls it BCLP. My task today is to set the scene for the panel discussion that's going to follow, looking at global review of trends and their impact during global practice. How do we navigate something? And I'm going to be looking at it from the perspective of a global law firm and talking through some of the challenges we see on the global legal stage and how they will translate what Nigerian law practices have to respond to. But before I start, I couldn't help but notice the friendly rivalry between Lagos branch and the branch of and I thought to myself, well, I couldn't remain partial or impartial, but I couldn't resist. You know, as an Ibadan born and bred, first in Nigeria, first university, first radio station, first television station, there can really be no question. And it does give me great pleasure to be here at the invite of my friends from the Lagos branch of the NBA. So I do thank them for that. Perhaps I could just throw up a couple of slides, so that it informs the perspective I'm sharing with you. You see on the screen a couple of slides describing who BCLP is. We're a global law firm. We have over 1,200 lawyers. We're in 31 countries. You can see the spread of the countries in which we're in: North America, Europe and the Middle East, and Asia. Although we don't have an office in Africa yet, we have a thriving Africa practice, and that has brought me to Nigeria many times, collaborating with many of my friends and colleagues in the room, in many of the law firms that are represented here. So I'm speaking from, from a perspective of a Kongi boy who has found his way through luck to be the global senior partner of one of the leading law firms in the world. So I think I can offer a dual perspective, an outsider's, insider's view, as my good friend Tunde Ajibade will remember from one of the lectures we both spoke at. So, enough about BCLP. We can take down the slides, please. Thank you very much. As I said, my task is to frame the discussion for later on, which I hope to be joining as well. Now, perhaps I can start off by asking if people are familiar with the acronym VUCA, V-U-C-A. If you're steeped in business speak, you might have come across it. VUCA is an acronym that stands for volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. It was actually a term initially coined by the US military in the 1980s to describe a certain field of operation that was beset by special challenges and which require skill, foresight, resilience to navigate. Now, I use the term VUCA to describe the trends and the circumstances in which global legal services operates and has been operating for the last, I would say, 5-6 years. And there are global VUCAs, but I'm sure and I know that there are also those items, those aspects of volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity which apply to Nigerian law practices in the context of Nigeria. So when I talk from a global perspective, please be on the lookout for things which also apply here, and I will, as I go along, try and tie the two together, both the global and the local challenges we face. So we do live in a world that is a VUCA world, and the norms that have now set in and the trends which you will see and we will discuss are, to my mind, either symptoms of or a response to those challenges. Now, I'm sure we can all point to events which for each of us, epitomize this volatility and uncertainty. But for me, there are two which stand out from a global perspective. The first is the global pandemic, COVID-19. And the second is the ongoing invasion of Ukraine by Russia. Now, the global pandemic ushered in huge volatility, huge uncertainty. And that volatility and uncertainty was felt in different ways by different sectors. But I think for professional services, including legal professional services, it ushered in huge array of questions. How do we stay connected when we can't go to work? How do we stay connected to our clients? How do we stay connected to colleagues? How do we deliver services remotely? What is the office for? Now, these were all issues that, as a global law firm, looking across people in 31 different jurisdictions, we had to grapple with. There is a new norm coming out of COVID. We all know what they are. How do we keep our people glued to the firm? A people business needs people to be together. Now, how do you do that in a post-COVID world where working from home becomes the norm? Ukraine, the invasion of Ukraine, we're still feeling the reverberations from that. I mean, that single event, ongoing event, put a major dent in the business model of law firms across the globe. In BCLP's case, it led to us shutting our Moscow office, which had 200 colleagues, was our fourth largest office. It meant that we had to rethink, and along with other law firms, rethink very carefully where we operated in, what were the jurisdictions that we would deem to be business friendly for us. But at the same time, it also opened up opportunities for other jurisdictions to make their mark and to appeal to professional services firms, to say, we are open for business. You may have lost some of the international work you have, but we are open for business, and we'll be making changes to our own laws and regulations to make it more attractive for you to come in. So COVID was, Ukraine was a game changer in many ways, but it also opened up significant opportunities. And I'll come back to that theme at the end when I'm talking about the changes that we've seen in certain legal markets who have opened, or at least made an attempt to open their doors to foreign law firms to come in. And it raises interesting questions for us here in Nigeria. So those were two events which for me demonstrated or epitomized the volatility and uncertainty in a VUCA world. There are other events or other developments which demonstrate and epitomize complexity, and some of those have already been mentioned today. Technology. You cannot run and build a sustainable client-facing business without adapting to the rapid changes in technology. The rise of artificial intelligence. I mean, ChatGPT, when it was launched in November 2022, was a seismic shift. I mean, artificial intelligence itself has been around for a long time. But what ChatGPT and generative AI did was to harness that generative potential with easy access. And someone I heard who's much smarter than me likened it to having the invention of the browser at the start of the internet age. Now we all know what our browsers can do for us. Imagine ChatGPT just at its infancy. It is so profound that I'm wary of predicting which way it's going to go, because we can all get technology wrong. I mean, we all thought email was going to make us more productive, right? It was going to make, the speed of communication was going to make our lives easier. Well, we all know now that email is probably the bane of our lives. And it hasn't meant that we spend less time in the office. It actually means we're spending more time. So I'm always a little bit wary when people talk about, AI is going to decimate the need for lawyers, etc., etc. I am not convinced. So I am a wait and see, or as we say, sit down look, because I think it's going to be interesting how it plays out. But one thing I can be sure about is that lawyers need to grapple with this technology right now. There's no putting our heads in the sand to think, well, it will pass us by. Or if you're at the tail end of your career, to think, well, I've only got a few more years, I don't need to grapple with this at all. I'll leave it to the youngsters. I think it behoves all of us. I look at it as a learning to collaborate with a new teammate, having it by your side, running for you tasks which administratively are difficult. But I think getting to grips with AI and generative AI in particular is important. It will reshape our business models with no doubt. We have a pyramid model where younger lawyers typically learn on research tasks, drafting tasks, and gradually move up the chain to deal with more complex matters. That bottom of the pyramid is going to be affected by AI. And I think if we get to grips with it now, we will do so positively. The other issue around technology, and I just want to touch on very briefly, is cyber risks. Now, as professionals, we have, as legal professionals in particular, we are privy to some of the most confidential and sensitive data about our clients that they would allow outside their offices, which makes us particularly prone to cyber hacking, ransomware, and I do think that protecting ourselves, protecting our clients is also one of the major risk factors that we have to tackle with in this complex world. There have been some very well-known law firms, global law firms, whose businesses were shut down for days because of ransomware attacks. So I mention that because I think that as professionals, you're designing your technology, please do think about cybersecurity risk as paramount. Now, I've tried to describe 2 or 3 developments which epitomize VUCA in our world. I want to drill down a little bit to look at how those events and developments have manifested in shifting patterns in global legal practice. And I want to mention 4 very briefly. The first is, it's led to a consolidation in the global legal marketplace. To make the investments that will generate the returns and the harnessing of technology that I've just described, I think firms are looking to come together to deepen their pockets, to build war chests by growing scale, in order to be able to do and make the investments that I've described. BCLP itself is a product of a merger 6 years ago. It was a merger between a UK headquartered international law firm, Bowen Leighton Paisner, and a US headquartered international law firm, Bryan Cave. And we merged to form BCLP. We are still on the lookout for growth, both organically and inorganically, but I think consolidation and further combinations are definitely on the cards. So something that you might want to think about. I do know that one of the previous speakers spoke about law firms scaling up significantly, but I think that's something else that you might want to consider. Paradoxically, alongside consolidation has been a fragmentation in the market. So you now have boutique law firms who will specialize in only one type of law, whether it's litigation or pensions law or technology law. You are seeing private equity coming into law firms. You're seeing virtual law firms, which somebody else has mentioned. So these are all ways in which professionals are adapting to the pressures they're facing by focusing on one thing and focusing on it well. I think there's also room for that in the Nigerian legal services market. It's happening to a small extent. I know 1 or 2 law firms who will only do corporate transactions, but I think there's room for even more specialization in that regard. The third thing I wanted to mention is the war for talent. And my brother, the General Secretary, talked about JAPA and what is doing in the Nigerian legal market. I have to say, as a global law firm, we have benefited from the talent in Nigeria. And I say that proudly, but also with a bit of sympathy, that the war for talent is really hot. It is leading to some significant movements in the market. It is leading to
markets like Nigeria being the target of international law firms. And within the international legal market itself, salaries at the moment are going absolutely crazy for newly qualified, with some US law firms offering up to £180,000 for a newly qualified lawyer. That is just a symptom of the volatility and complexity we face. Law firms are trying to drive a wedge between themselves and others by looking for the best talent wherever they are. That does present a challenge for UK and Nigeria. Now, the last thing I wanted to mention, and I'm conscious of my time, but I did want to just focus very briefly on the issue of foreign law firms operating in Nigeria and the conditions that need to be laid to make sure that is something which is beneficial to all practitioners here, as well as the foreign law firms who are interested in practicing here. I have been at the forefront of moves in England, and I know George will be very familiar with the work that the BNLF, the British Nigeria Law Forum, did and is doing for many years to find a way of encouraging professionals, Nigerian professionals in England, to be able to practice here with some recognition of the experience they have in the UK. However, I think it's wider than that, and I think it's a question of the Nigerian legal profession and its regulators opening up to ideas as to how they can facilitate meaningful, reasonable interaction with foreign law firms who want to practice or want to have a base in Nigeria. Yes, you can have alliances. Yes, you can have the co-branding you see with at least 2 international law firms here. But I would urge the NBA to look at models in India and the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, which in the last year have taken steps to open up their legal services to foreign law firms. In the case of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, you can now set up a firm in collaboration with Saudi citizens who will have a significant share in that business. There is a limit on the amount of fees you can take out of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and there is a requirement for you to transfer skills. In the case of India, which is one of the most closed markets in the world to legal services, in the last year they have also made rules to facilitate foreign law firms entering into the jurisdiction but practicing in limited areas. So for instance, practicing JV, mergers and acquisition, international arbitration, and a few other limited areas. So I'm throwing out those examples really as not that they need to be followed exactly, but to enable practitioners in Nigeria to face up to the challenges and the opportunities which this increasingly volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous world is presenting. There is room for everyone, I think, provided it is well regulated and well marshaled, protecting Nigerian lawyers, but also enabling a free flow of ideas and practices to enrich, I think, to the benefit of the Nigerian professional, the Nigerian legal profession. So I'm going to leave my keynote address on that note of challenge to the NBA. How do you face up to that challenge? I think there's an inevitability about it as Nigeria becomes much more and more attractive as a destination. How do you face up to that challenge, and how do you make it work for you and for your colleagues in the profession? I will leave my keynote there, and I look forward to a very fruitful and enjoyable panel discussion where we unpack these things even further. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. If we can quickly just have pictures on stage. I would like to call the Attorney General to kindly join us on stage. Mr. Adegbite, to please kindly join us on stage. Mr. Makonjola and Mrs. Ali, please, if you can join us on stage for pictures very quickly. After that, we'll have the presentation to our keynote speaker. A round of applause for Mr. Segun Oshutokun. Thank you so much for that very thought-provoking keynote address.
Let's go here. Can I use this? Well, to our keynote speaker, Mr. Segun Oshutokun. In recognition of your contribution as a keynote speaker at the NBA Lagos Branch Law Week, June 2024, please do accept this token gift. Any more?
A round of applause for our keynote speaker, who has shared with us his wealth of experience. Mr. Oshutokun is the senior partner at BCLP, the global senior partner, where he supports the global CEO and the board and leadership team in building the success story, which is BCLP. He has a stellar 30-year run as a litigator and dispute resolution expert. He's the head of the firm's civil fraud litigation practice and has acted for state governments, telecommunication, and energy companies. Another round of applause, please, for our keynote speaker. Thank you so much, sir. At least I have left with one new term, VUCA. And if you are like me, spelling it V-O-C-A, I'm sorry, you're wrong. It's V-U-C-A, volatile, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. Sure, I'm very sure that your emails today may be filled with some CVs after you expressed happily that the market seems to be working. But thank you so much for that thought-provoking conversation.